Okay, Graham Plattner, what the hell is going on? A week ago, Politico, run by known super Zionist, what's his face? I forget his name. Politico's an evil outlet. Very evil. Used their deep state Palantir technology to magically synthesize old deleted posts in which Graham Plattner said a number of things that were a mix of based, red pilled, and cringe. Basically said rural whites are stupid and racist and so on. Okay. Anti cop. Okay. Said some typical lefty shit. Okay, whatever. We disavow, blah, blah, blah. Now, the response to this largely served to benefit Plattner's campaign because he posted a heartfelt video to social media where he talked about how he was like an angry young man, and he learned over time to channel his anger and frustration and feeling of political impotence into something positive. He spoke about this, and shortly thereafter, he went on Pod Save America, the podcast you guys might know for having been ultra lib, but recently, kind of funnily enough, it seems like the host is having a bit of a break with the median Democrat line a little bit. There have been a couple of Joker moments on Pod Save America. This still, I can't get over that interview they did with the Kamala Harris staffers who were just like not capable of understanding how their behavior brought us all to this moment. And Graham Plattner, he went on here and he shared something interesting with the class. It's the interesting bit's 20 minutes in. We're not going to watch all the way up to there, but let's open fair. Okay, what's up?
Oyster farmer and Maine Senate candidate Graham Plattner. Graham, great to see you.
Thank you very much, Tommy. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you for doing the show, and thank you for bearing with 15 minutes of Amazon Web Service, Amazon-related tech problems at the jump here. It's been very fun. Thank you, Jeff Bezos. Okay. I want to cover a bunch of stuff with you, but first, I just wanted to ask you about this kind of flurry of news reports about Reddit posts you made between 2009 and 2021. There's an Axios headline this past week that described the week for you guys as Bernie back Maine Senate candidate melts down. So maybe by the end of the conversation, we can fact check that headline too, and you tell me if that's how you feel.
Interesting.
Axios, they summon it all up for you. Primary in June. So the first Reddit post I wanted to ask you about is from 2013.
The first one's really good, by the way.
So someone wrote on Reddit, what is one question you've always wanted to ask someone of another race? You responded, why don't black people tip? I work as a bartender, and it always amazes me how solid the stereotype is. Every now and again, a black patron will leave a 15 to 20% tip, but usually it is between...
And when we saw this among the Reddit posts, what did I do? I said, black people, answer for yourselves. Why not? And who responded? Nobody, because there are no black people here. Not actually true. By the way, I should have you know I've been stopped by black fans in the street before, which I assume legitimizes and pardons me for everything I've ever said and done. Thank you.
0 and 5%. There's got to be a reason behind it. What is it?
That must have been so scary. Shut the fuck up.
End of quote. How did you feel rereading that post? And what's your response to people who hear that and think that is like textbook racism and it's offensive?
I mean, one, I was legitimately asking the question. That was the point of the thread, was to ask the question. Amusingly enough, I remember this time when I had first started bartending, and then I had a conversation with a friend of mine who was black, who was a bartender, who did a great job of walking me through structural injustice and the fact of feelings of lack of agency. Mm-hmm. There were a whole bunch of reasons, and after that, I was like, oh yeah, that makes absolutely perfect sense. It was certainly not meant as a malicious thing.
Why is this MF even on Reddit? Isn't he like a middle-aged man? What do you know about Reddit?
Asking the question because that was kind of the point of the thread, actually.
So you're saying that this is not something that you were shitposting about. This was not something that you felt, it wasn't meant to be a commentary. It was a question you were sincerely asking on a Reddit thread because you thought there might be some sort of like cultural explanation or something. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I like there was I grew up in Maine. I had never bartended before. I was living in Washington D.C. And I mean, I honestly, I reread a lot of the comments for obvious reasons. Many of them, I'm like, oh God, that one I must say, like, I mean, I was legitimately curious.
The fucking voice, man.
And it was not certainly not meant in any malicious way. And I got an answer soon afterwards in reality from an actual person. But
got it. Okay, so another one that's gotten a lot of attention is there were posts from 2013 where it seemed like you were playing down the challenges faced by members of the military who were trying to report sexual assault allegations. The first post was, in today's current climate.
What was the answer? Yeah, why won't they give us the answer? What the we're all hanging on a thread here, you know? A lot of people have been wondering this. I've always wanted to, if I was in that Reddit thread, I would have asked, why when I'm talking to an older Chinese person, do they always seem like they're impatient with me, no matter how quickly I'm speaking to them? That's what I want to. That's what I would want to know. It makes me feel self-conscious.
When every whisper of a misplaced hand brings down a feature-length film, anyone who actually thinks the military is purposely covering up rape to save a career of some goddamn captain is clearly both an idiot and junior enough in rank or life experience to think it matters. And then there was another post where you suggested that the way to avoid getting sexually assaulted was not to get blacked out drunk. Again, what do you say to someone who hears those comments and feels like it's minimizing a very serious problem, if not suggesting that the victims are the ones to blame for sexual assault?
Yeah, they would be correct in that. I mean, I didn't know what I was talking about. I had, at this point, I had just gotten out of the infantry. It's important.
Pretty nice direct answer there, you know?
Time in the service was in the infantry. At that point, it was an all-male branch. I had only recently separated, and my frame of reference was that world. And that was not a world in which, frankly, I had very little interaction with women in the service. Very soon after, actually, this time frame, when I started going to college, I became very close friends with a number of vets, female vets at George Washington, and all of them had a story. And I very quickly changed my tune. I think you'll find even not that much later in my Reddit history me acknowledging that. That was a moment in time in which I had not yet been exposed to things, and I had a opinion or I had thoughts that were colored by my experience in the service. But
this is why I think he experienced basically no electoral consequences for all of these unearthed posts. He genuinely comes across as a very genuine guy. He comes across really sincere and heartfelt. I think a little bit is also, and I'm being serious with this, he has like actual puppy dog eyes. Like he has the outer lid downturn that you would draw on a cartoon dog to make the dog look like a little pitiable, you know? And I do think that helps. Like there are people who just have like kind of evil faces a little bit. And so this hasn't really bit him that much, but there's a reason why he's on here speaking with Pod Save America, you know, about this, even though he had already addressed it publicly and kind of seemed to have moved past it a little bit. And to that point, let's move just a little bit further along.
It actually legitimately infuriates me.
I can understand it. Obviously, like people's votes and quotes and, you know, life experience is going to be part of a political campaign. But right. The Oppo research world gets pretty fucking disgusting at points. And I think you're kind of hinting at that.
By the way, the Oppo research that's come out on him, until proven otherwise, I'm just going to assume it was Schumer. Keep in mind, like, he's up again, like Mills, the Maine governor, is the Schumer-backed candidate. She's 1,000 years old. She'll be, you know, 1,008 if she finishes her first Senate term. Like that's the age she'll be. And it does seem like the Oppo research that's been done on him has been like relatively high quality, if you know what I mean. Like effort has been put into digging into his past, you know? I mean, they're pulling up deleted posts, and as you're about to see, they found an old video.
Speaking of which, in kind of a non-traditional campaign move, your team actually shared some opposition research on you with me. It's a video from, I believe, a decade ago. Let's just watch an excerpt, and then we should talk about it.
Oh, yeah. right, don't you get me copyright struck, please. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no.
First of all, what we were watching there was Graham wearing just his boxer briefs.
Silkies. Those are Marine Corps running shorts.
Pardon me. Silkies. First of all, great song choice. Tell us what's happening there, where you are. There's probably some listeners who are very confused. And the reason we are showing this video is because at the very end, you can see a tattoo on your chest.
Yeah.
I've been told that some of your political opponents are telling reporters that that tattoo has a Nazi affiliation. And I would like to know, is that accurate? Are you a secret?
It's a totem cup. It is a Nazi symbol. It's unambiguously a Nazi tattoo. There's no getting around that. It is in fact the one on the hat, famously the one on the hat. Somebody in chat earlier said that he shared this information with Pod Save America. Again, that's not true. Reporters somehow, or a reporter, procured this video and were providing information about it to news outlets, waiting for one of them to take the story to break. I think this is some deep state Palantir shit, okay? Like, the race is not for like, the election is not for over a year, and you have all these deleted Reddit posts, and now you have, like, investigative reporters quietly trying to, like, pressure outfits or outlets into publishing this information. I think this is 100% like the Democratic, like, it's Schumer. I think it's Schumer. But at any rate, man has a Nazi tattoo, or had, as we'll get to.
Nazi.
I am not a secret Nazi. Actually, if you read through my Reddit comments, I think you can pretty much figure out where I stand on Nazism,
right,
and anti-Semitism and racism in general. I would say a lifelong opponent. The video is from my brother's marriage to his wife, to my sister-in-law, who I was serenading. I told them that my wedding gift to them would be my embarrassment. And so I performed a lip sync version of Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball to my sister-in-law on the day of her wedding to my brother. And now, of course, that embarrassment, which was mostly just held internally in the family, as we always watched that video at family events and laughed, is now shared with the world. So I feel like I'm just going to give them a wedding gift for the rest of my life. Which is great. I love the reason, by the way, the reason of this video, Saturday was their 10th wedding anniversary.
Oh, congrats.
And my sister-in-law was showing everybody the video.
Nice.
And I was like, oh yeah, there it is. There's me being embarrassed. But what we also, so in 2007, I was a machine gun section leader with Kilo Company, 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines. We were on the 2-2 Mu. And it was my 3rd deployment. My previous 2 had been to Fallujah and then Ramadi, 2006. And we went ashore in Split, Croatia, myself and a few of the other machine gun squad leaders. And we...
No, my love, that's okay, but thank you. Yeah, never get blackout drunk and get a tattoo in Croatia, okay?
We got very inebriated, and we did what Marines on Liberty do, and we decided to go get a tattoo. And we went to a tattoo parlor in Split, Croatia, and we chose a terrifying looking skull and crossbones off the wall because we were Marines, and, you know, skulls and crossbones are a pretty standard military thing. And we got those tattoos. And then we all moved on with our lives. And I actually joined the Army after that, where I got, you know, I had to go to MEPS. I got screened. Later on, I got a security clearance and a full screen when I went to work for the State Department as a...
Well, yeah, that having a Nazi tattoo probably wouldn't be disqualifying for those roles. So basically, he's saying the reason he has, present tense, a Nazi tattoo. And again, I want to be clear. It's the totem kopf. It's not ambiguous. It's not like a dog whistle tattoo. It's not like a edge case thing. It's unambiguously a Nazi tattoo. The tattoo artist would have known, and so on. he's kept it his whole life up until 2 days ago. Now, the weird thing here is that he claims he didn't know what the tattoo represented. According to his previous campaign manager, who left after this, Plattner knew that it was a Totenkopf and had referred to it as such. Like, he was quoted as having said, or having referred to his tattoo as "my lil Totenkopf." So he knew what the tattoo was, at least now. And I don't think you can have a tattoo like that on your body for, 15 years without at some point somebody telling you, look, I buy the original story, okay? Drunk Croatia, you get a skull and crossbones tattoo, it's a Totenkopf. I don't expect the average U.S. soldier to know what a Totenkopf is. I fully believe that. I fully believe that. However, the idea that in the following 15 years of his life, nobody informed him, like, I don't buy that. That seems unlikely to me. It's a recognizable symbol, at least to some people. That specific piece calling it "my Totenkopf" came from an anonymous source speaking to Jewish Insider. All right, well, I've seen how they talk about the Gaza genocide. Okay, then you can take that one with a grain of salt. Regardless of the reliability of that quote, the idea that for 15 years he didn't know what the tattoo on his chest was, to me just defies belief. That's ludicrous, That would be like getting a Hindu swastika because you read the original pre-Western edit of One Piece and were a huge fan of the Whitebeards or whatever, and nobody told you, for 15 years, nobody told you. It would be insane. Especially, like, in the service, You're getting shirtless with people all the time, never comes up. Was it the SS Totenkopf or other ones? It's just the one Totenkopf. It's that simple. It is the Nazi symbol. It's not any other symbol. Now, funnily enough, only now did he decide to change his tattoo and get a cover-up. I guess at no point in the previous 15 years did it occur to him that that might be a good idea, especially before a fucking U.S. Senate race. And the tattoo he chose to get to cover it up is a fucking, like, Celtic rune Nordic wolf type tattoo, which is the funniest fucking thing you could possibly cover a Totenkopf up with. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Wait, what? I don't get it. These are also symbols that are popular with neo-Nazis. They're not like Nazi symbols. It's just like he's taken like 3 steps down the staircase. You know what I mean? Might have been better if he had just had like a black square tattoo. You know what I mean? Like, just fully just black the whole thing out. Oh my God. But see, Vosh, if he was a secret Nazi and he knew it was a Nazi tattoo, why would he wait till now to get it removed? No, you gotta understand. I don't think he's a secret Nazi. I think he's fucking retarded. I have no other explanation for how we get to this point. I don't think he's a Nazi. I genuinely don't. I think this is like genuine homegrown American idiocy, and I think it's borderline disqualifying. For a senator, Like, it's one thing for a person to have shifted in their political positions rapidly over time. It's one thing for a person to be, up and down, up and down. Yeah, okay. Whomst amongst us, right? Especially nowadays, now that everyone's ideology is, you're playing Pong back and forth across the field, whatever. But the level of, like, poor reasoning or decision-making or lack of decision-making or whatever else to keep a Nazi symbol on you for 15 years and then hastily cover it up only after, like, I don't get it. If you knew that people were running around with that video, like leaking it or trying to push it onto onto newspapers to get them to publish it to run against you, why not get the tattoo covered up and then talk about it, you know? And say like, I just learned right then what a totem conf was. I don't understand it. It's insane. It's insane to me. I do not get it. That cover up isn't new. That's at least 1 year old. Is it? My understanding was they got the cover up very recently. Like very, very recently. Did he not get it covered up like just it's not red or swollen? You can literally see the plastic on it right here. You can see the thing they put on to allow the skin to heal. It's got the goop. Oh yeah, you can see the hair shaved. Yeah, that's new. That's just insane. Yeah, you can still see the bones of the skull and crossbone picking up, you know? Look, again, I don't think that he's a secret Nazi. This is, to me, again, a borderline disqualifying level of mental constipation. This is, I cannot relate to the mental process of a person who would, like, the original tattoo, regrettable, but understandable. But at some point in the following 15 years, at no point were you like, oh my God, I have a fucking gigantic totem conf on my chest. I am going to go to a tattoo parlor and fix that. It was a really shitty tattoo. It looked like a black blob more than a skull. Sorry, I know this is largely a product of me being familiar with the symbol, but it's immediately recognizable. The totem conf, I mean. Even as a silhouette, it's very recognizable. It's recognizable enough. Remember, you might recall the Bored Ape Yacht Club got in some heat a while ago because one of the symbols associated with the group was clearly modeled off of a totem conf, you know? It's a recognizable enough symbol that even iterations of it look distinct from other types of skulls and crossbones. Most people don't recognize it. Sure, he should have at some point in 15 years. Like, well, I'm sure, okay. I bet you the average person doesn't know what a Sonnengrad is either. Like, how far do we run that line? You know? Totenkopf. Look, the PF, the cop, is hard for me to do right now because my throat's sore, okay? I'm trying my best. I know there's no M in there. I don't get why people focus solely on the tattoo and not the fact that he spent his entire adult life prior to running for office on re-enlisting or joining Blackwater. Yeah, it's true. The Blackwater thing's pretty bad. I know he's gotten in some heat lately because apparently he, as a serviceman, he was patrolling outside Abu Ghraib. Like, he wasn't one of the guards in the prison or whatever, but he was there, which is insane. And there's a Reddit post from him. Hold on. Can somebody find it for me? Where somebody asks him what war he'd like to fight in, and he was basically like, well, the easiest wars to fight are ones where you're killing civilians. Ones where you have to fight against actual militaries are tough. Can somebody find that for me? Lamau, that's true, though. Yeah, he's spitting facts with that one. Anyway, if somebody could, like, procure that, I would appreciate that. So is the military filled with neo-Nazis as well? I mean, there's some, but, like, he's not just a regular serviceman. He was in Blackwater, you know? It's not just, like, a regular, you know... Oh, yeah, here we go. This is an insane... Which American wars would you have volunteered to fight in? Volunteered to fight in. The Indian Wars, the Philippines, Haiti and Nicaragua in the 1920s, Vietnam, Nicaragua, and El Salvador again in the 80s. Incomprehensible. This is and the most people. So tell me this guy didn't know what a totem conf was when he knows about these conflicts. No one in America knows about our colonization of the Philippines. That's just not part of our, like, collective cultural memory. In order to know about that, you need to have some degree of historical literacy. How long was this posted? Some years ago. Unless you're Filipino. Yeah, well, you know. As for would have, I did for Iraq and would love to get into the GON. Would love to get into the GON, Afghanistan. Small wars are pretty enjoyable. It's the big ones with days of artillery fire and inhuman brutality that take the fun out of fighting. But small wars, and Iraq and Afghanistan are indeed small wars, provide the rush of small combat actions along with the intellectual challenge of building personal relationships and infrastructure within the local community. Small wars are thinking wars, which I much prefer over the bloody slugfest of great power conventional war. Oh, and the revolution, American Revolution. Because I'm American. Posted 12 hours ago, though. Are you guys aware of how screenshots work? Out of curiosity. Do you think that if we waited here an hour, this would tick up to 13? So we can all agree that anyone who would post this has to know what a totem comp is, right? Like 100%. There's no fucking way. This is like an insane, like, Hearts of Iron 4 Blackwater military psychopath post that, like, there's just no way. Pretty hard to disagree. History is not a proficiency check. I won't argue with your delusions. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna argue the idea that you can have a Nazi symbol on your chest for 15 years and not know, but you're also the kind of person to engage in the kind of like insane psychopathic shit like this. This insane shit like this comment on its own is fucking disqualifying. It's insane. So like the only conclusion that I can derive from this, the only conclusion the only thing that I can get from this, I guess, is that I think the original tattooing was a mistake, because I don't think he is or has been at any point a Nazi. What I think happened was he got the tattoo, woke up, realized, holy shit, I have a fucking totem kopf, and then he thought it was funny because he was a military vet, a Blackwater mercenary, a military, like, psychopath who was like, this is now part of my personal story. Yeah, babe, I'm not a Nazi. Like, I just got this while blackout drunk in Croatia, you know? Like, 82 IQ behavior, no personal accountability, just, like, very deranged, out there, like, incoherent view on life. You know what I mean? Very, very, like, if you could imagine a mercenary fighting in the 100 Years' War, it's just some truly, like, guts Band of the Hawk bullshit. That's what I'm thinking right now. I'm thinking like a person who has a very unserious view of life, including his own, and just runs with it. You know what I mean? That's my guess. I don't think he's actually a Nazi. This, by the way, is a level of nuance and specificity that I am only willing to engage in because he comes across as sincere. I would never be this charitable with anyone who was already on the right. That's insane, you know? If there was anyone on the right who was anywhere near this level of, like, radioactive, then I wouldn't even bother. And I would mock you for doing the same, you know? Yeah, Jesus Christ. Do you think this will cost him in the race? Well, as people in chat keep trying to spoil because they don't understand like good comedic timing. So far, no. He's actually dominating in the early polls. Within the Democratic primary, within Democratic voters, he's nearly like 2-to-1 lapping Mills. After hearing Plattner's statements defending past remarks, 45% said it made them more likely to support him. But that's past remarks. The polling, I think, only slightly includes the results from the Nazi tattoo. So we got a post-controversial Reddit comments polling, but now we need the post-totem cop polling to really find out how people feel about this. You know? Tattoos as well, read the image. Nope, the poll does not fully account for that. The range of time. Oh, hold on. No, you're right. This is from 22 to 23. The thing that I was thinking of a poll from 17 to 21. Okay, okay. This is the post Nazi tattoo poll then, huh? Huh. Well, he also put out a video directly addressing it. If you even care, let's see what you got. I haven't seen this one. I've been too busy, you know, hanging out.
Hey everyone, Grant Plattner here. I want to talk to you about something. In 2007, when I was a young infantry sergeant in the Marine Corps, myself and some machine gunners I served in Fallujah and Ramadi with were on our third deployment. We were in a naval vessel and we pulled in for a Liberty port in Split, Croatia. We went ashore to do the thing that young Marines do, which tends to be carousing and sometimes getting tattoos. We wanted to get something that represented our jobs, our service, fighting in Fallujah and Ramadi as machine gunners.
And it ended up being unexpectedly on the nose.
We went ashore, we found a tattoo parlor after a fair amount of heavy carousing, and we found a tattoo on the wall, a piece of flash that looked like a terrifying skull and crossbones. We thought it looked cool, and so we got it. I have had this tattoo for the last 18 years. I re-enlisted into the United States Army with this tattoo, where I was screened for hate and gang-related tattoos. I worked for the State Department as a contractor, where I got a full physical, which included screening my tattoos. I've gone through life with this thing, taking my shirt off, having photographs taken, videos taken. I've been very, very open in my life with the fact I had a skull and crossbones on my chest, because that's what I thought it was. It's come to my attention that it has a stark resemblance to a symbol that is used by neo-Nazis.
That's dishonest. It doesn't have a stark resemblance to it. It is the symbol, and it's not used by neo-Nazis. It was used by the Nazis. It wasn't an after the fact, like, it's assimilation. It was the symbol.
And I want to say that was not the intent at all. And the idea that I've been going around with something like that utterly horrifies me. I know that symbols like this can be incredibly damaging to people, and the idea that I've had it all these years and it could have been read like that is incredibly troubling. I have lived a life dedicated to anti-fascism, anti-racism, and anti-Nazism.
I mean, he worked with Blackwater, but, you know.
I think that racism and anti-Semitism are a long scourge on our society and a long scourge on our politics, and I think it has no place in our world. For that reason, I have gone and gotten it covered up. Last night, I went to a tattoo parlor and I got this to cover up the skull and crossbones. It's a Celtic knot with some imagery around dogs, because my wife Amy and I have two wonderful dogs that
incredible. An incredible bit, genuinely. Like, I can't even... Jesus fucking Christ. Unbelievable bit.
we love a lot. This far more represents who I am now than even the skull and crossbones did, which I thought that it was. This has come up because the establishment is trying to throw everything it can at me. It is terrified of what we are trying to build here. Every second we spend talking about a tattoo I got in the Marine Corps is a second we don't talk about Medicare for all. It's a second that we don't talk about raising taxes on the wealthy. It's a second we're not talking about the material struggles of Mainers as they try to scrape through a system that at its core is trying to rob them. And that's why tonight, I'm just going back right out on the road. We're holding a town hall in Ogunquit, where much like I've been doing for the past month, going around the state of Maine.
Nah, this strategy ain't it. Well, it's been working, actually. He's very far ahead right now in early polling, so you run with that.
Making myself accessible to Mainers in their communities so I can listen to them. I can hear about what it is they need to change in our political system, and that is what I'm going to continue dedicating my time to. Thank you all very much, and I really appreciate your support through all of this.
This guy is a massive fucking liability. The tattoo, the attacks he's going to get in the general, he would undeniably win. Just straight up against why am I blanking on her name? Fuck. Not Mills. I'm not saying the Collins. Thank you. Yeah, he would undeniably win against Collins. Like I have no doubt of that whatsoever. Yeah. What if he pulls a Fetterman? Well, I don't think Fetterman is actually a fair comparison because Fetterman was like an open Zionist even when he was being like Fetterman was a walking contradiction from day one. There are no progressive Zionists. It's not an existing position. The stroke didn't actually change that, you know. More cinema? Yeah, more like cinema, but cinema was an open grifter. I guess I mean the problem that I have with him is more like I don't think this guy's a grifter. I just have no idea how seriously he's taking this or how good his decision-making processes are, you know? He's like fuck, Jesus Christ, you had a Nazi tattoo on your chest for 18 years and you're lying about not knowing what it was, and I do think that's a lie. I don't know. I don't know, man. Bernie is still standing by him, by the way, which I'm not too surprised by.
I suspect that Graham Plattner is not the only American to have gone through a dark period.
Your candidate
in this bit, I don't know if he's defending the comments or the tattoo.
In Maine, running for Senate, Graham Plattner has been subject to a lot of fire and fury, stories of old posts, crude comments about black diners, about rural white people.
Lying about his stances for political gain, that sounds a bit like grifting. No, because grifting is like lying for personal gain in the context of like your continued career, you know. In this case, it's more like he's lying about whether or not he was aware of the fact that it was a Nazi tattoo. That's just lying, you know. That's not really grifting. He's not really like being disingenuous about his positions for the sake of personal gain. It's more like, you know, well, he's framing it very conveniently for himself, which I just don't believe.
You said yesterday you are still supporting him. Why?
I am not overly impressed by a squad of media running around saying, what do you think about the tattoo on Graham Plattner's chest? Between you and me, there might be one or two more important issues, but let me go there.
It is worth keeping in mind, though, that even like a moderate Zionist, which represents at the minimum like almost every Democratic politician, is implicitly endorsing more open Nazi behavior than Plattner ever could with the tattoo on his chest. You know, like it's like choose your fighter. The Nazi tattoo on your chest, but also you disavow the genocide, or the person with no Nazi tattoos who every day goes up to the media and lies to defend Israel's genocide, you know. So there is kind of like a gulf here between symbol and action.
I'm not Graham's best friend. I met him several times. We did a rally in Portland, Maine, a great rally. I am impressed by the guy. This is a guy who will tell you who has served 4 tours of duty with the United States military. He was in the middle of some heavy-duty combat. He was a machine gunner. That's what you do. You mow down people, you know? He went through some very difficult experiences in the military as a machine gunner.
The Blackwater mercenary thing's a bad take. Vets after the financial crisis were in a tight spot. Yeah, but you can say that about like people just signing up with ICE right now. A lot of those people are in a tight spot financially. Also, the guy was making Reddit comments about how he would like love to fight in the Philippines. You know, like this guy was not like a world weary you know, pacifist down on his luck looking to make a few bucks so he can afford college or whatever. This guy clearly to some extent reveled in the notoriety and violence of his career path. You know, it's definitely not like just a financial decision.
Seeing his friends killed. Came out of the military. He will acknowledge, I'm not telling you what he doesn't say yet, PTSD. He went to the VA, and by the way, what he says, they rebuilt his life. All right. He went into a dark period in his life. I suspect that Graham Plattner is not the only American to have gone through a dark period. But what he did was he has expressed his darkness on the internet. Probably not a brilliant thing to do. All right. And he said things that are stupid, things that were hurtful. He has apologized for them. And what he says now, and the guy that I saw up on the stage in Portland, Maine, rather a brilliant guy. I mean, really a strong fighter for the working class, very articulate, very smart. And what he said is, yeah, I went through a dark period. I said stupid.
Assuming Plattner's political evolution is authentic, would having a masculine white man with previous repugnant views not be an asset? He had a Nazi tattoo in his chest. It's not even about his views necessarily. It's just, I doubt his decision-making abilities. It's not like, leaving aside the honesty and the things that he used to believe and everything like that. I think that it's like, okay, first of all, has anyone checked any videos of his legs? Is there anything else we need to be concerned about? Does he have like a Sonengrad asshole tattoo? I feel like this guy's, it's every day with this fucking guy. This is how you guys must feel about me. Some weeks, you know, you go online, can't wait to watch some political content, yum yum. It's like, oh my God, what happened this time? Jesus fucking Christ, you know? So I sympathize to an extent. But, you know, I'm not running for the Senate.
Things. I am not the person today that I was back then. And I think as a nation, especially given the fact that we have a president who is convicted of 34 felonies.
I've heard that point. Yeah, right now, Plattner is absolutely lapping Mills. These are positions held within Democrats, so in the Democratic voter base. Socialist, progressive, moderate, conservative. Only conservative Democrats prefer Mills. And even then, not super strongly. By age, every age demographic, though more the young people, prefer Plattner to Mills. Men, overwhelmingly Plattner. Even women, 2-to-1 for Plattner. No college, Plattner. Yes college, Plattner. Incredible. But they both have equal favorability ratings, which is interesting. Welcome to Maine. Yeah. Kamala should have gotten a Nazi tattoo. You see, Kamala, if she did that, like white Hyperborea, the meme, you know, do you think that she would have won? Well, who the fuck is Mills? The governor. Is this the Appalachian working class hero we've been hearing about for years? Oh, man. Look, can we all agree at the very least that this is like an unbelievable shit show? I'm interested in seeing how this race plays out. I would still prefer him to Mills because I think that the #1 existential threat to this country right now is the Republicans and the inability for current centrist Democrats to oppose them in any way. So any step towards opposing Republicans, I think, actively denazifies this country, you know? That being said, he is a massive liability. Like, him running... God, do you know what they're going to do with this? Well, actually, I'm trying to say, like, it's a political liability because when he runs for the Senate next year, Republicans are going to run ads of him being a Nazi, but that's just going to lead to a bunch of young Republicans going based and voting for him. So maybe they're not going to do that. Republicans actually cannot afford to be openly anti-Nazi anymore. They literally can't. It's not even a joke. Like, they can't do that. So, I don't know. I really, 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 really do not trust this guy's political instincts. Well, I mean, we'll see how the race plays out, but it does seem like inertia's on his side. What liability? I mean, also, like, I don't know. What if he continues to make stupid decisions like this? Like, what if the kind of person who would run as a Democratic U.S. senator with a Nazi tattoo on his chest, what if that person continues to make decisions in that vein, you know? I don't fucking know. Trump is doing great in office. Yeah, that's true. We just need to get him a really good assistant. That's probably true. Oh, yeah, speaking of his, the people around him, this is being covered by Politico, so there's definitely a bias here, because they're evil. Graham Plattner is shaking up his campaign amid a swirl of controversy, bringing in a longtime friend to function as his main Senate campaign's new manager, hiring a compliance firm and sending NDAs to staffers. Kevin Brown, who became the campaign manager this week and whose past campaign work includes the presidential bids of Elizabeth Warren and Barack Obama, though he has not worked in Maine, is only one of the changes. The campaign has also brought on an in-house attorney, as well as a compliance firm, Spruce Street Consulting, which has ties to a constellation of buzzy progressives, including Zohran Mamdani. The campaign began sending NDAs to staffers last week, according to his former top political director, Genevieve McDonald, who said she declined to sign one. The campaign offered me $15,000 to sign an NDA, McDonald told Politico. Ooh, that's a fucking red flag. Oh my God. The NDA's coming out like after you start the campaign and offering that much money, campaign money, presumably money that you raised from like donors who want you to use it on advertising. You know, what information do they have that would make an NDA worth that much? That is very sussy. The asshole tattoo? It must have been the asshole tattoo. The Sonengrad. A statement from the campaign referred to the $15,000 offer as standard severance. That's bullshit. Not much specific information here. So glad retards like Vaush are dedicated to taking down leftist candidates. Hold on, let's take a look at your post history. Oh, we're doing circle firing squad again. Great clapping, retards are acting holier than thou. Retard leftist making this an issue. Cool, let's just drop another leftist and lose again, at Vaush. Congrats on being so much better than Plattner. Vaush dedicated to losing. That Nazi tattoo is gone, retard. Alright, cool, let's let the Republican candidate win. So glad retards like Vaush are dedicated to taking down leftist candidates. The bot? No, not a bot. There are people like this. I will say, when you act like this reflexively, what you're basically signaling publicly is that you have no standards at all, and that does make the left look bad. Like, you're hurting the left electorally. Not even like in the circular firing squad way, but what you're essentially saying is we should have to accept anything, and that puts us in a weaker position, you know? I mean, not even to speak of, because I've said he's preferable to Mills, so it's not even applicable in my case, but, you know, you're the one who's not willing to reason through it, you know? Yeah, it comes across kind of desperate, in my opinion. Man, I really wonder what the fuck they're offering that NDA for. What I found interesting is that the pro versus anti-Plattner discourse is not broken along ideological line. No, yeah, that's true. I've seen, like, shitpost lefty types on Twitter being like, yep, that's it, we can't defend this guy anymore, that's enough. And I've seen more, like, abundance type moderates, like Pod Save America, you know, be like, no, we're holding true to this guy, you know? It is a shit show. I'm seeing like a lot of people are fighting online about this, you know? MR is backing him. Emma's being kind of insane about this. I think I saw her down in the trenches. Trying to find, I saw her defending. I'm not succeeding in finding it. Well, whatever. You and Hassan are the only people I've seen with normal or moderate takes on this, Vosh. What was Hassan's take? Is he riding with Plattner? Same as yours? He copied it from me.
First at 7 tonight, a political newcomer with a populist focus is making waves in Maine politics, and a new poll shows it may be working. Good evening. I'm Greg Lagerquist.
And I'm Stephanie Grinley. Thank you for joining us. Graham Plattner's campaign for Senate has included large crowds and controversies. And now a new poll shows the progressive Democrat has a big lead in an early poll, including over current Governor Janet Mills.
That's right. CBS 13's Julia Simone is breaking down these new numbers for us.
The Senate race has many candidates from both sides, but the names that remain the most notable are Down East Oysterman Graham Plattner and Governor Janet Mills in the Democratic primary. Graham Plattner has a 58% in this recent UNH poll. This comes after
breaking news, John. Donald Trump is suing us. Let's watch a clip to explain why.
Because the New York Times
and then possible connections to the Timbo. This is at his brother's Crooked. That's by the show. I don't have a preferred like dog in this fight or a candidate in this race. I really liked Graham Plattner when I talked to him. I'd like to talk to Janet Mills. Maybe she's a good candidate. Maybe she's not. I want voters to decide. It's sort of how it works. I think, though, the people asserting as fact that Graham Plattner is a Nazi are fucking gross and they're idiots and it's absurd. And I think we as a culture maybe should require more than one data point before we lob that accusation against literally anyone, MAGA, lefty, anybody in between. Like let's pin it down before you call someone a Nazi.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I thought a lot about this. I listened to the interview. Thought it was a great interview. I thought you did a great job. Like, it wasn't a softballish interview by any means.
That wasn't fun for him.
You literally went through all of the Reddit posts.
A lot of mainstream Dems are staying out of this race, even establishment ones. I've noticed that. Yeah, it does seem like a lot of people are holding their breath on this one.
And then this, I found him talking about his service and what he went through in Iraq and Afghanistan and how bad it fucked him up.
Hold on, what are they? It's such an interesting.
So, guess what?
The lines are drawn in such interesting places.
Guys, Graham Plattner's tattoo has made me more ride or die for him than ever. Let me explain my thinking here. So, as Ryan and Emily covered yesterday, Maine Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner is under fire for a variety of old Reddit comments and an extremely poor tattoo choice. So here's that tattoo revealed in a pic of Graham drunkenly serenading the crowd with Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball as a gag at his brother's wedding. Honestly,
Cover up the skull and crossbones. It's a Celtic knot with some imagery around dogs because my wife Amy and I have two wonderful dogs that
through a wide variety of Graham's often impolitic comments, which he made when he thought he had internet anonymity and no expectations of running for public office. So what do we see in those comments? Well, some comments on sexual assault and race, gonna get some weird tattoos, some off-color remarks, some very messy life trajectories. The reward, though, is you get a party that doesn't give America the ick. As Emma Vigeland puts it, quote, censorious hall monitor liberalism that refuses to accept growth in people unless you're a corporate centrist and all is forgiven, just ask Cuomo supporters, is far more of a threat to the Democratic Party's chances in the future than anything dug up on Graham Plattner.
Well, that's 100% true, absolutely. But I feel like we've lowered the bar pretty far, you know what I mean?
And it's more than the Democratic Party's chances, which are at stake here. Status quo neoliberalism has failed to deliver for people, and those failures are exactly what enabled the rise of fascism. The question of whether the Democratic Party base can elevate new candidates with new profiles and, most critically, new politics is existential for the party and for the country as a whole. So Graham's tattoo also raises the question of, what do we even consider to be a scandal? They want you to believe that a bad drunken tattoo is more scandalous than bad policy backing billionaires at the expense of ordinary people and support for genocide at the expense of our souls. We have to fight that view with everything that we have. In Maine currently, there's a choice between two leading candidates on the Democratic side. You've got the sitting governor, Janet Mills. She's the choice of Chuck Schumer and the DSCC. As governor of Maine, she has opposed a millionaire's tax. She vetoed adding higher income tax brackets.
A veteran in YouTube chat is going sicko mode on you. What did I do? What did I say? What the hell did I say?
She opposed hiking corporate taxes, but she did implement a cigarette tax, which will disproportionately hit the working class. Now, she did pick a fight against Trump, which I appreciate. But if it's not matched with a willingness to confront capital, it is not nearly enough. Mills also opposed local Israel divestment efforts in Maine. She threatened to veto statewide divestment efforts. She's been silent on the genocide and just generally toes the lockstep pro-Israel line. She also happens to be the least popular Democratic governor in the entire nation and would end her Senate term well into her 80s. Do you really believe that that is the type of candidate that Democrats should rally behind for the future of the party, let alone the country? Now, Graham supports a billionaire minimum tax.
Again, like it is 100% true that backing Israel in any capacity is a more effective advancement of Nazi values than anything anyone has ever accused Plattner of, you know? But again, the bar is very low. My concern mostly is just like his future decision making, because it seems like he's in a bit of a spiral right now. I mean, I don't know. I'm a little bit sympathetic, I guess, to the idea of, or I should say more sympathetic than most, the idea of a person chaining together a bunch of stupid decisions but still having a good perspective to offer. But one of the reasons why Zohran Mamdani has been so special is because he's a mix of good policy and incredibly good decision making. You know, it's easy to want to tax the billionaires. It's easy to be a populist. Being a populist is not exactly difficult. It's not a high bar. But Zoran is special because he's very competent. He's good at executing every element of what he needs to execute, and that's why he's going to win. Right now, it looks like Plattner might be like shockingly incompetent. He might be in the exact opposite. Like, even if you don't speculate on his broader moral character, it just seems like he is incredibly susceptible to bad decision making, past and present. You know, I mean, if he keeps acting that way, is PV still canvassing for Plattner? I'm not PV. I don't run PV. You got to ask PV. How the fuck would I know?
Supports Medicare for all, wants to surge federal government direct housing construction to deal with housing affordability, wants to end the forever wars, and especially to end the genocide and bring peace and justice to Palestinians. Now, with no public profile or political office, he has built a grassroots movement, both in Maine and around the country, of people who are inspired by his model of politics. This was just last night, by the way. He routinely garners hundreds of cheering supporters to his events. So guys, is he a risk? Sure. Could more come out? Sure. But Maine Democrats have tried to beat Susan Collins with standard issue safe choices before.
Yeah, the best case scenario is that Plattner surrounds himself with like competent campaign managers who direct his energy and charisma in a way that pans out well. I don't know if I trust his individual decision making, but also senators are not individual. Oh my god, she's doing the fucking lol face. She's doing the you know what I'm talking about? Like the classic lol face. That's pretty impressive. Cool. Anyway, a senator is not like an individual political entity, right? Like a senator is a person who reps a body of campaign workers and staffers and consultants and advisors. Same's the case with any politician. So.
And all of them very safely lost. There is also, I should mention, another candidate named Jordan Wood in the race who is responsible for a network of scam PACs and running exploitative fundraising tactics, who has probably done more to harass Democratic voters and scam them out of money than perhaps any other individual. He's at 1% right now, by the way. So I'm encouraged by what I've seen so far in response to Tattoo Gate. Congressman Ro Khanna, Senator Sanders, Senator Heinrich, they're all standing behind Graham. Even a sort of centrist-ish Democrat, Ruben Gallego, did not throw Graham under the bus. Here are Bernie's most recent comments. Clip is a little long, but I couldn't cut any because you guys need all of this pure quintessential Bernie.
I do have a question about your endorsement of Graham Plattner.
I thought it was the American healthcare system, no?
Well, it's something he talks about a lot, right?
Okay. Well, let me just say a few words. Number one, I am impressed that the media is so concerned about the tattoo that...
Did you guys see Bernie's recent takes on immigration? Bernie's actually defending him because he's in a Nazi unity ticket with Plattner.
Mr. Plattner has. Meanwhile, as a result of Trump's massive cuts to Medicaid, the estimate is that if we don't change that, 15 million people are going to lose their health insurance. 50,000 people a year are going to die. Maybe equivalent to the importance of Mr. Plattner's tattoo. In terms of Mr. Plattner, this is a guy who served four terms as in combat. He was a Marine, 4 tours of duty, and you were asking.
Because of our past John Fetterman trauma, which I do understand. But let's be real, guys. Fetterman did have ideological red flags in the present day, not based on some old post. The biggest red flags were on Israel, of course, and also that whole trying to murder a random black guy in his neighborhood situation. Also worth remembering, though, that Fetterman has literal brain damage, which apparently made him basically a different person. So it does seem like a pretty unique situation. The other intelligent critique I've seen from lefties is just basically, listen, guys, we got to pick our battles, and the Nazi tattoo guy is just not worth it. Journalist Adam Johnson, for one, tweeted this, quote, "Do you think it's wise to piss away capital defending someone with a Nazi tattoo, someone with little pedigree on the issues that matter, and was a Blackwater merc? Does this feel like a good use of our time and energy?" To that, I would respond, yes, this is the absolute best use of our time and energy. It is an essential use of our time and energy, and I will die on this hill. And to be honest, the shit posting, but mostly leftist Reddit posts, actually kind of allayed my fears on the Blackwater front, and that was the most concerning aspect of Graham's lore for me personally.
I have to, maybe in a broader sense, there's like an element of this that is good, just because now that the East Wing is demolished, everyone's a Nazi, everyone in the White House is a pedophile, the bar is down there in hell. I wonder if there's some benefit to be had from the, like, what we're seeing right now feels like a massive paradigm shift of what was previously that aforementioned, like, hall monitor liberalism Democrats are so fond of. You know what I mean? Like, every preferred Democratic candidate, avowed centrist Zionist, has personally killed 87 Palestinians, in bed with every corporation there is. But if you at any point in your life have said a swear word, if you've ever said schweers, then they'll go after you for it. You know what I mean? Yeah, they tut-tut. They gatekeep. They will be. They'll commit unspeakable acts of evil and then go after you for, like, civility breaches. So the fact, like, what we're seeing here seems kind of be like a consequence of that. You know, you pull the rubber band until it snaps. Fuck, they've been doing it so much with Zionism, especially, where, like, for 2 years now they've been trying to convince Americans who are fed up with it that opposing a genocide means you're anti-Semitic. And I'm sorry, like, that has been their only line. It's been their only line for years. Question after question, rebuttal after rebuttal. The only thing they have to say is that if you have any concerns whatsoever about the obvious like the just Hitlerite behavior of Israel and what they're doing over there in Gaza, then it must stem from anti-Semitism. It's the ultimate hall monitor behavior, you know? Oh, you can't oppose genocide. That's against the rules. Eventually the rubber band snaps, and now it's like, no, fuck it, actually. This anti-Zionist Maine senatorial candidate had a fucking Nazi tattoo until yesterday. What do you want? We saw Benjamin. I don't know. It's just, it's so interesting.
What is that?
This?
Yeah, what's it?
Literally nothing. It's just it's a design.
Is it like a possum or I don't know?
No.
Replace the tattoo coming after this video of the oyster farmer and first-time
mistakes in his life. He's made mistakes in his life. We all have. He deserves an opportunity to explain those mistakes, and he's doing that. I think another thing is, you know, a lot of people in politics don't answer questions like this. They try to get out of it. They try to blame mistakes on other people. We see Donald Trump do that every single day. I see.
Why are Zionist Dems like this guy defending him? I don't know. I don't know what the fuck is going on with Plattner, dude. I have no idea where the lines are. It's crazy. There are, like, moderate Democrats saying that, hey, listen, boys will be boys, and lefties online going like, no, I'm done with this guy. I don't get it. I don't even know. I have no idea. I don't know. We live in a simulation. What do you want? I saw a Maoist saying he supports Plattner and a Trotskyist saying he needs to drop out. Oh, brother. Let me send this over to the editors.
The latest in the Plattner saga, and we should say, like, you know, I said this is obviously Oppo research. It was dumped. I think there's 2 or 3 things as the meta. So Plattner
we're on our going for the past
candidates that can be deployed on them in this way. People have to understand that this is specific to Maine and their political environment, and this is a much more rural state. And in the same way that you had a lot of liberals get upset that Bernie Sanders is a little more Second Amendment than Hillary Clinton was in 2016, Plattner is going to be more of a Maine kind of...
Calling it Oppo research is weak sauce. Of course it's Oppo research. I guess the imbalance feels like when the two sides of the party are, on one side you have squeaky clean Ivy Law graduates who are all very evil and in bed with corporations but have led lives like designed around being politicians, and on the other side you have like regular people of strong moral convictions who have a past littered with like a, you know, internet archive history of messy stuff. The point is, like, you can't even do any Oppo research on a Dem candidate, like a mainstream Dem candidate, because what are you going to bring up? Their whole life's there on Wikipedia. They've been evil the whole time, you know? But you're not going to find any, like, Reddit threads of them saying weird shit or whatever, you know? They've been, like, scrubbed clean from the start. They're evil in a way that is, like, considered acceptable. You know, what Oppo research are you going to do on like, to me, being anti-BDS is more disqualifying than just about anything. Like saying that you would veto a state's BDS law, that's insane. But it's just right there in Wikipedia, you know?
Rural Democrat, and folks should probably try to accept that, because we're trying to elect the people that are most likely to vote to end the genocide in Gaza, to vote to raise...
What is BDS? It's a K-pop group.
Taxes on billionaires, and to make this country more livable for everybody. And I just, you know, I want us to be more strategic here, and in our coalition understanding that a Democrat like Zoran's politics aren't going to look exactly the same as Plattner's and his platform, but the important fundamental foundation is what's key, which are the things I just mentioned. Going after, you know, taxing the rich aggressively and reorienting our foreign policy in a way so that we're not committing genocide. And I am convinced that he is by far the best candidate still in that race to do that.
Anyway, the attack is now that he joined a socialist paramilitary group. So
I would also, I mean, but here's also the other, there's one other argument. It is extremely important in this election for the Democrats to make ground, if not take the Senate as well. And yes. I'm sorry. There are two options in Maine in this primary race, and it's Plattner and it's Mills. And the idea that Janet Mills could beat Susan Collins is absurd. It's patent.
I thought somebody said Sam Cedar was anti-Plattner.
Absurd. I understand she's won governor 2 times in a row. She's older than Collins. I think it's absurd because she's not offering anything that differentiates her from her. She herself said that she's doing a good job. Like, what is the point of her campaign? We know that she was reluctantly, she was recruited and she was reluctant to run. So even if you are looking at this from a Democratic, moderate, centrist, whatever you want to call it, perspective, the bottom line is that seat needs to be taken. And Plattner has caught on fire. Let me read a couple IMs because I think we get all different perspectives on here. Future.
Okay.